So I just wanted to start by asking you, where are you right now and what have you been doing since the Taliban came into Kabul?
Well, I'm at my home since the Taliban came to Kabul. The last day at my work was when we were evacuated from the office at 10 before they reached Kabul. And since then, I haven't been out. It's been almost 10 days. This is it. This is like almost my normal life now, staying home. I haven't been able to go out at all.
What does it feel like for you to be there in this situation right now?
Well, honestly, it feels like as if I'm stuck. It's like basically caging a bird because like as a person, I used to be a very outgoing person. I had a big social circle, a lot of friends. Every day or every 2 days after office, we used to hang out with my friends, and all this changed suddenly. It's so difficult to work with, at least at this point.
Does it feel almost surreal, like hard to believe it's happening?
Exactly, yes. It caught us all by surprise. It just doesn't feel like my normal life.
Has the Taliban been to your house?
They've come to my house. It happened, I think, on the fourth day they entered Kabul. They came, they asked around for if we had anyone who worked in the military, the Afghan military, anyone who worked in the government or with the foreigners.
Without saying too much, there is somebody in your family who falls into one of those categories.
Yes.
Can I ask you, are you comfortable saying who that is?
Yes, I am. It is me. I fall into one of these categories, and when I heard them coming in, because we have like a yard, and then there's the apartment, and then of course the men they went out to talk to them. They came to the to our little garden. I immediately started panicking. I was so scared. I just thought that if they find out my identity and where I worked, I might have been killed, or the worst, I was afraid that they're gonna take me with them.
What are you afraid would happen if they took you?
I've been talking about this with a lot of my friends even before the Taliban entered Kabul. You know, one of my worst nightmares is basically being forcefully married to any of these Taliban soldiers, or I don't know, getting raped, being a sex slave. That's worse than death. I would never want that.
Do you have reason to believe that that is happening to people there now?
I've heard a lot of stories that it has happened in the provinces. I've seen videos on the social media, specifically the one that happened in the Hot province, which is a province in the north. And yes, I've heard a lot of stories that these kind of stuff they happen. That's why I'm so scared.
But the Taliban, they left that day without taking anyone. Does it concern you that they'll come back?
Yes, it does. It does concern me. It does concern me because they said they'll come back. There have been a lot of talks around with my colleagues, and they say some stuff that, like, they have access to some specific databases, they can track down people. So it does kind of concern me because, like, why would they just show up to my place, right? So it's really scary.
I understand you've tried to get out with your family. What have you tried?
Honestly, I kind of emailed every embassy, every link that was shared on the social media. I tried calling them, emailing them, trying to explain the situation, my situation. But unfortunately, I haven't heard anything from them.
Some of the people you worked with have been able to get out?
Yes, a lot of people I know have been able to get out. Almost most of my friends, most of my colleagues. It feels like I'm just only person who's left here, and it feels very lonely and depressing.
What did they do to get out, or how are they different?
So the place I work with, a lot of people had the means to get out, like financially. They even got out before this whole thing happened. Some of my friends got advice from the embassies. They work with the international organizations. Most of them that I know of, who just recently got out, were the part of people I knew. A lot of women have been left out. And again, I think uh, it's because, even the airport situation, I think, kind of has affected that because we live in a conservative society and seeing the situation in the airport, no male would ever take their women or children with them because they all have this kind of thought that the men that if they get out of the country, there can be ways that they can, rejoin back with their families. So they think that if they can get out, there is a way to kind of bring their family or their wives or children.
You mentioned to me that you're in a group chat about the airport. What are you hearing from your friends who have been able to go out and see conditions?
So 5 to 6 guys from my friends, from my classmates, they managed to go check around, and they came back and said there's no way that someone could possibly get into the airport without any escort or like without having to stay in a camp. And then there's a lot of violence as well going on. The Taliban, they're shooting people, they're beating them up. A lot of women and children. It's like an unimaginable situation.
I'm curious, you knew the U.S. was leaving, but still you're surprised by the situation there now, you say. Why is that?
Well, this is a funny story actually because I think I relied on people way too much. I knew the US was leaving and I knew about the war that was happening across the country, like other provinces. But then somehow, whenever I used to talk to my colleagues, they always gave me the assurance that they're not going to come to Kabul. They'll never get to Kabul. And even if they do, it's not going to happen this fast. And I trusted them, honestly. But the day they came to Kabul, none of those people were around anymore.
Do you feel betrayed by the people you worked with?
I do. I do, on so many levels. I've basically have built this sense of hatred towards them. And I don't really know how to deal with it, but I do feel betrayed, left alone, hopeless, helpless, and powerless because I can't do anything. Because I can't do anything to make a change.
Finally, you do hope to leave. What is your message? What message would you like to give an audience outside Afghanistan?
I just want to say to the world that what happened to Afghanistan and what happened to Afghans, we didn't deserve this. We, especially my generation, we didn't have a say in this war. And we're basically living the consequences of someone else's problems. Our neighbors, the West world, the extremist groups, and we had nothing to do with them. And yet we're facing these consequences. We don't deserve this. Afghanistan doesn't deserve this. We have been through a lot of hardship, through a lot of bad days to basically have the achievements what we had like a week ago. And they're nothing now. So what I want to say to the world is that they should understand that we did not deserve this, and the world must not abandon Afghans.
Thank you so much for sharing your passionate perspective and taking this risk to share your voice. And I will get this out there so people know what you're going through and keep a spotlight on people of Afghanistan and the women of Afghanistan, so many of whom are afraid they're being left behind.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jessica Yellin. If you like this video, please click subscribe, and you can click the bell to get notifications when we post new content. Thanks for watching.